Good evening. Welcome to the Starting Grid Formula One. This is our first live show. Hope we do all right. We will be talking about the race today. It wasn't the most eventful, but
No,
it was okay. Could have been better, could have been worse. Chels, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. A bit tired, but all good.
We'll both of us will be going straight to sleep after this.
Oh, definitely.
Probably. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of like start off with kind of obviously what happened with we had Ricardo at the back. We had Hamilton with the 10 grid penalty. And who else was at the back?
Signs. Yeah, Signs in P19. Yeah.
I have a big issue now with these grid penalties. It seems to be happening every week. I know that it's the rule when you change in the power unit, things like that. But if so many drivers are having to do it, surely this rule needs to be looked at.
Definitely, yeah. I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough engines. Like the allocation, it's getting to that point in the season now where, especially with 23 races we've got this season, like I don't think it's enough engines, and I feel like I don't know, way up the allowance, wasn't there? I don't know, because these penalties are happening quite often now.
Yeah, it's too much. Like what the last one, oh my god, we had about 5 at the back.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. They need to look at this and think, right, this rule isn't working at all. So let's look at it and let's change it.
Definitely.
Hello
100%.
to you guys that have joined us in the comments. Thanks for supporting us. So yeah, we had that, and then so that meant that Bottas started first, Verstappen, then Leclerc, which is I think it's quite a good starting 3, to be honest.
Yeah, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, all up there.
Yeah, so it's nice. It is always nice when you see that Ferrari.
Yes.
Up there for once. So obviously going from the start of the race now, Bottas got away really well.
Yes, good reaction time from Bottas.
Yeah, and I think he pulled away from Verstappen quite a bit, which was really, it was good to see. I think. What did you kind of think of the start? Did you think it was going to be have a little bit more action?
Yeah, I thought it was. I would say, aside from the Alonso Gasly incident, to be fair, the start was a lot cleaner than I expected, especially being, the track being wet as well. I expected, I don't know, it was almost too clean. I was like, this doesn't happen very often, especially on a wet race. But going into turn 1 pretty clean. So yeah.
You mentioned obviously the Gasly and Alonso incident.
Yes.
What do you think about Gasly receiving that 5-second penalty?
Very harsh. I think it was harsh. I feel like, obviously, they showed the replays, and obviously, you're not 100% sure what happened until they show the replays. But I think he got, like you said on the radio, I think he got sandwiched.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go.
Perez was on his left, like Alonso on his right. There's nowhere where he could go. Alonso was maybe a bit cheeky going around the outside anyway. I just don't think that warranted a 5-second penalty, especially, going. It's the beginning of the race. Like, I thought it'd just be a racing incident, but
it literally was a racing incident. I don't think anyone was at clear fault at all.
No, they weren't.
Because Alonso was pushing his luck, which is fine. It's what you do. Yeah. Gasly had nowhere to go. Perez is just driving on the inside. So it's not, I just think it was really harsh, and I thought, oh, here we go again. Are we just going to be throwing out
penalties?
And then obviously later on, Alonso then got a penalty.
Yes.
And again, I'm not quite sure whether that was harsh, but I think because Gasly got it previously, I think they had to.
That's one thing that we kind of sometimes not the stewards for, inconsistency. So at least if they're going to give one penalty, they've given the other. So, maybe I don't even think that one even warranted a penalty either. I think they both shouldn't have been. But I mean, if you're going to give one, you've got to give both. So.
Well, exactly, and that's the annoying thing, though, isn't it? Then that you've got to once you've made one bad decision, you could then potentially make many bad decisions to keep the consistency. So that's where it kind of gets hard. And I think again we need to kind of look at what we're looking at for these penalties. What is warranting a penalty, because at no point in that Gasly Alonso incident was, like I said before, at fault. So
no.
I do think it's a very, very harsh, and I think, like you say, we've got the inconsistencies with the the rulings and the penalties. It's kind of taking a bit away from it, because it's just irritating.
Yeah, it is.
Gasly potentially could have finished higher than Hamilton if he didn't have that 5-second penalty.
Yeah,
I know it's all in a hindsight thing now, isn't it? But what could have been, you just don't know.
Exactly.
So it is frustrating, especially with a driver like Gasly. I think everyone kind of wants to see him do well, and everyone he's one of them that everyone kind of does root for. You might not be like his fan, but people like to see him do well, I think.
Especially after the whole Red Bull palaver, so.
Exactly, because I think he dealt with that really well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he really did. So yeah, I think he deserves some good luck, Gasly. 100%. But I think he's got the talent for it. It's not just luck with him. He's a very talented driver anyway, isn't he? So yeah, I think it was unfortunate, but he's still got points. It's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
Speaking of Lewis Hamilton, well, what a race he had, to be fair, until Mercedes. Are you on the side of it's Mercedes' fault, or do you think it's Hamilton's fault for not pitting earlier when they said, do you want to pit?
I don't know. I think he should have stayed out. I think if he'd stayed out, he probably could have finished higher. But I feel like they're a little bit kind of, they're scared to take risks, especially after last week, seeing what happened to Lando and what could have happened to Lewis, exactly, especially with the rain and everything. I feel like they were giving the orders at first, and Lewis was resisting, and I think it got to the point where they're like, right, you're coming in now. And I don't know, I don't think he should have come in. I feel like they messed him up a little bit on strategy there, because I think if he'd have stayed out, you never know what could have happened.
I think at the end of the day, he's the one driving that car, and he said he felt fine on those tyres. They were practically slicks.
They were. Have you seen the picture on Twitter? Literally, there's no grip on him.
You can literally. I don't know how. I do not know how he was driving. No. I'm surprised he wasn't like Vettel when Vettel put his slicks on. That was it. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Thoughts on Hamilton on a hissy fit on the team radio?
Well,
the race?
I have problems with Hamilton whining on the radio a lot, but I think he was completely justified for having, because he said he was comfortable to drive that car on the tyres he had. Therefore, as we've just said, he potentially could have finished higher if he kept he didn't come in. So I think that one he is justified, and they he kind of was just like, oh fine, yeah, I'll come in, because they didn't make him aware
that he was going to
drop places.
Yep.
So to me, I'd be absolutely fuming.
Yeah, I feel like we've given we've questioned Mercedes, some Mercedes strategies in the not even that long ago, certain things.
Yeah.
And I think if they'd given him the full information and let him know exactly what was going on, I feel like he wouldn't have pitted and he would have potentially finished higher up. Yeah. So I feel like it kind of was a little bit justified, and I feel like Mercedes were just playing it a little bit too safe. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was justified.
I do think it was justified, because, like I say, I think I would have been absolutely fuming.
Oh yeah.
It's been. I think. Yeah, I understand what because people are saying, giving that argument as well. He should have just pitted earlier when they said prior, but like we've just said, if he felt comfortable on those tyres and still felt like he could push them, what's the point in pitting and losing positions?
It's all a big game of what ifs, isn't it? Really, because especially with the risk going on to the Minters was that they were starting to go through that graining period, and that's when Hamilton obviously was struggling. He couldn't get past because he was going through that period, and then obviously if he'd have pitted earlier, maybe he would have had the time to make the ground up. If he hadn't pitted at all, then he might have not had to deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like what ifs.
It is a game of what if, and we're never going to know the answer.
Exactly. Because the title race is so close, the decision could have cost Hamilton the title. Maybe. I mean, there's 6 points between them now, is it? Max is 6 points ahead.
Yeah.
I think I wrote down before. Yeah, 6 point leading the championship, obviously going into Austin. So I personally just want a title decider in Abu Dhabi. Oof. That's what I want. Last race, a title decider.
Give
it to me. Give it to me.
You just got a question as well. With Verstappen's DNFs, has he had 4?
3 or 4, yeah, something like that, yeah.
I wonder how different.
Oh, God, he could have been running away with it.
He really could be running away with it. So I think for the fans, it's great that he had them DNFs because it's keeping it tight.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Dad, sorry, it's my dad. We kind of said
hi, Mark.
we kind of said about the penalties. We feel that it's kind of a bit like VAR.
Yeah.
Isn't it, really, in football? It's becoming a bit of a joke that you have to find problems with every incident. You're struggling to get a racing incident anymore because they're handing out penalties left, right, and centre. So yeah, I think it is slightly affecting the sport. Not completely just yet, but I think if they do continue the way they're going with the amount of penalties they are giving out, I think it could affect it.
I feel like there has been a lot this season, like thinking back, and quite a lot of questionable ones, or ones that have been given for certain things and then not given for certain things that are similar. Again, like football, exactly like
inconsistencies.
Exactly. It's all inconsistent, and they need to sort of gain that sort of consistency to keep the fairness and keep the competition alive, because it could lead to major disadvantages for certain drivers.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what we said about Gasly today. It affected his race when it didn't need to. Special mention to Yuki Tsunoda.
Fair play. He did well.
I can't remember who it was. I don't know whether it was Button on the commentary. Was like, oh, he's just Hamilton's biding his time.
Yeah.
Is this, is that? No, Tsunoda held him up.
Give him the benefit.
It's not always Hamilton. Does everything right, and no one can be better than him. I'm not saying Yuki's better than him, by the way. But what I'm saying is, at that point, Yuki was holding him off, and Hamilton could not get past. He wasn't. What's the point in him biding his time when he was further back? He didn't have time to bide.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to Yuki Tsunoda today.
It's like when Alonso was holding Hamilton off a few weeks ago, everyone was giving the praise to Alonso, saying, "Oh, look how good his defending was." The same deals for Tsunoda. Obviously, he's not Fernando Alonso, but he's still put up a good defense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, fair play to him.
I was excited when Hamilton was coming behind Norris, and I thought, here we go.
Again,
did not have the pace this weekend.
No.
That is not a track for them at all.
No, definitely not.
They definitely struggled quite a bit this weekend. Ricciardo, obviously, didn't really have a great race at all. No. There was a couple of bits where he looked like, oh, here we go. We might be pushing it. And then he straight back down again. It was
complete wrong call when he pitted as well. Like, he was like, "Oh, do you think you'll need new inters?" Yeah, I think new inters is the way to go. Definitely not.
I kind of understand why they did it because he was so far at the back.
Nothing to lose.
Exactly. You might as well give it a shot. He's basically the guinea pig for the full track. For everyone out there, is it right to pit now for new inters? And obviously, it wasn't the right decision. But when you're not even in the points anyway,
you might as well.
I think you might as well take that risk and see. It was the same with Aston Martin with Vettel.
Yes.
Putting him on the slicks.
That was very bad. Watching all the replays.
I don't think anyone believed that when we all watched them put those slicks on that car. And my Twitter just went mad. Everyone was like, sorry, Aston Martin, slicks. in rain.
They tried it. They tried it.
But my heart was pumping out of my chest. I was like, oh my God, this is dangerous. I'm really scared. He was auditioning for Dancing on Ice.
I know, yeah. Sainz did have a good race.
Big shout out.
He was voted driver of the day, but obviously I would say he was my driver of the day as well. Like, obviously, when it kept flicking back to his overtakes, and then on commentary they were like, "Oh, it's like he's doing one a lap," because at one point he was like at each lap he was getting past someone. I was like, "Go on!"
And they said like, "Oh, with 2 laps without a Sainz overtake, what's going on?"
Yeah, what's happening? But no, he was brilliant today.
He really wasn't. I've got a question for you, right? Because I saw this tweet, and so is Sainz underrated as a driver?
Ooh, I feel like when he was against Lando and McLaren, I feel like they were both quite evenly matched. So obviously, I don't know if I've had this conversation before, like, when teams got a number 1 and number 2 driver, I feel like at McLaren last year it was very sort of equal, qualifying.
I think that's the way McLaren want to go, don't they?
Yeah, which I do like. But I think since he's come to Ferrari and since he's kind of, gone up against Charles, who's been there for a couple of years, I think people are starting to sort of realise how good he actually can be. Because, like, he's doing really, really well. Like, he's outperformed. I don't exactly know the stats, but, like, I'm sure he's outperformed Charles a few times. Yeah. He's doing really well, and I think people are quite kind of shocked seeing it against Charles. But I feel like he's maybe getting the recognition that he deserves now, which is good because he's a good driver. We know he's a good driver.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he was underrated, but I think people are starting to see it now.
I think for me, my dad thinks that he is now rated correctly, if that makes sense. Yeah. He's not over, or he's people are appreciating him. For me, I still, like, even today, I know they were kind of making the jokes that he was doing, "Hi Danielle." He was doing like an overtake a lap, but if that was, I mean, Crofty and Button weren't the greatest commentators today. I think if Brundle was commentating, it might have been a bit different, but I just felt like it was very, when he was got up into 8th, there was no kind of like hysteria about how much he's done in this race. Like, it was, I don't think it was actually recognised enough at how well he actually drove by them. I don't think they kind of got excited, and I think if it was maybe another driver, it would have been raved about a lot more.
Someone like Lando, for example.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think he, like you're saying, I think he is getting appreciated a lot more now, and people are starting to see it. But I still think I think there's a way to go for people who will realise how good of a driver Sainz actually is.
Definitely.
And I think it's going to be exciting when people do start to really realise, because I think personally for me, I do think he's one of the best on the grid.
Oh yeah, 100%. Consistency wise as well, he's very, very consistent driver.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
I do. I really, really, really rate him. Very happy. Honestly, love him, basically. I just get excited for him. I just get happy for him. I'm like, go on.
Oh God, love it.
So it was this race was it wasn't too exciting, especially for a wet race. I thought we were going to have a lot more kind of.
Yeah, well, obviously, I was at work during the race, and when I saw that obviously they were all starting on inters, I thought, oh, this could be exciting. But I feel like as far as wet races go, it wasn't the most exciting race. I feel like everything kind of happened at the beginning and the end. The middle was kind of just a bit meh.
Yeah. It was
the only thing I can think of from the middle-ish that kind of was quite exciting was the battle between Perez and Hamilton.
Ooh,
that was tasty. Tasty.
Perez. That defense from Perez was wow.
Yeah.
That was Perez's best race in a Red Bull.
Yeah, that just shows, like, I know he's had a tough couple of weeks, like last few races, but that just shows how good he can be and what he actually can do.
Yeah, because
100%.
I think we've kind of forgot how good he is because he has struggled in that. Not struggled, but he's not done as well as we know Perez can do in a car.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, when he nearly didn't have a seat and everyone was just like, how is this man not getting a seat? Like, this man is an unbelievable driver. He's gone to Red Bull and it's kind of been a bit lackluster.
Second seat curse, that's what it is.
Exactly. But I think he could start to come into his own now. I think that podium has given him the confidence now.
Yeah.
I think, to get him up there, and he's now kind of confirmed to himself he can do it.
Yeah.
He's got that seat for a reason. Let's break that second seat curse and let's go for it.
Well, yeah, because he can probably hear, obviously he'll probably hear the rumours about potentially bringing, like, obviously I know he's signed for next year, but then after that, you know, potential bringing Gasly back, Albon back. Do you know what I mean? Like, he knows that his seat is not going to be safe unless he performs and unless he delivers those results.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So obviously he's going to want to build that confidence, build that momentum to prove that he is the person to be in that second seat alongside Max. Because obviously having Max as a teammate is not an easy thing to have. Do you know what I mean? It's not. So, yeah.
As long as Max is at Red Bull, you will always be a second seat driver.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's the same with Hamilton and Mercedes, isn't it now?
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
That's how it is, though. It is how it works sometimes, you know. I don't necessarily feel like a first and a second driver is a bad thing.
No.
I think in some teams with some drivers it can be. But then with others, I don't think so much. Because I don't think Bottas is a good second driver to Hamilton, because he's always helped Hamilton out, basically.
Wingman.
Yeah.
Wingman.
Although, which is unfortunate when it's an individual sport as well, but
definitely, and I feel like that's why then the dynamic at Mercedes will be a bit different next year, because I know George will want to come in and he'll want to help the team, obviously, but he's not going to just lie flat and be wingman. He's not going to want to do that. Like, he's got his chance in that Mercedes. He's going to want to go for it. You know, without going on too much of a tangent about George, because you know we've spoke about this before. But obviously, I don't actually think we've been on since he actually got officially signed.
No,
Mercedes. We've not. But yeah, without going on too much of a tangent, yeah, I feel like he's not going to want to come to this team in life. Like, he's going to want to give it his all, and I feel like that could cause a little bit of tension, should I say?
Are we going to see the new Hamilton Rosberg?
Oh, maybe.
Could do.
That reminds me, actually, we've not actually spoke about the race winner. So, you know, fair play to Bottas.
Yeah, he had a really good race.
To be fair, I'm really happy for him, because he's not won a race since. Which one was it? Since last season. He was not won the season. He's not won a race this season. Yeah, and I feel like I think it's nice. I don't know. It's nice because obviously he's probably not realistically. He's not going to be in that position next year to be fighting for wins. Really, no. I mean, obviously you never know. You never know. Alpha might come out, and you know, but I can't see it.
That car is horrendous. That Alfa Romeo.
I know, but it was nice. It was nice to see him come out and win. You know, especially potentially helping Mercedes in the constructors as well. I mean, to be honest with you, he didn't put a foot wrong in this race. He didn't. He was brilliant. Like he
was really good, and I think I think it was I did see a tweet. I can't remember who tweeted it. Who's saying how he probably the last Turkish Grand Prix had the worst race of his life
when he kept spinning.
Yeah.
Oh,
and now he's come back and won it. That takes some mental strength. It really does, because you are going to keep thinking about that. You know, you'll be thinking, oh my God, I was not great last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can have that superstition. Am I cursed in this, you know, on this track, things like that. But he didn't.
No.
He got that pole and he ran with it.
Oh yeah, and like I said, he was dominant. Like he left, you know, obviously he got a great start, and to be honest with you, Max was never really fighting with him. Like,
no.
At any point did it look like he was ever going to get him to the win. So
yeah, there was no battle up front with them two at all.
No,
obviously, when we had a bit of a switch around when, you know, pitting and things like that. Because I loved that when Leclerc was first, and he was like, "Are we staying out?" And they were like, "Yes, stay out." And he was like really excited that he could win it on a no stop. But then obviously he did have to pit, so that was unfortunate. And then he was struggling with his rears, wasn't he? Like as he was going through the greening.
Yeah.
And
that stage.
That was a stress for him.
I know.
We've kind of, I think with Mercedes they've got to make sure that the tactics are on point.
Yeah, from now on they need to sort themselves out.
If they want that drivers' championship, they're really going to need to, because you know that they're going to be in that deliberation room after the race for a long time with Hamilton tonight.
Yeah, they'll probably still be debriefing now. So
exactly. So I think potentially decisions and reliability could affect the drivers' championship, but I don't think it'll be on the side of Red Bull. It'll be Mercedes if they tactically get it wrong again, because they've already tactically got it wrong twice this season. So you've got to kind of worry, and you've got to question whether they're going to get it wrong again and potentially cost Hamilton's championship.
I think they need to start listening to the driver. I'm not saying, I know teams have strategies for a reason. I get that, but like you said before, Hamilton's the one driving the car, for example. And like I said, if they hadn't have forced him to come in today, I know you can't force someone to come in, but they, when Bono comes on the radio and he's quite like, you need to come in. Like obviously he's not gonna. He was like, right, no worries. But they need to give him the right information. They need to make sure that he knows exactly what he's doing, because if Lewis had stayed out, like I said, I think he would have done. I
think he would have got a podium.
Yeah, 100%, at least a podium. P3, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I do think he would have been a P3.
Charles Tractor born, you can keep P2 if you want. Ferrari, the Ferrari like team. Some of the stuff they come out with on the radio.
Me and my dad were just laughing at that. We were like, it just reminded me of Michael Owen.
Yeah.
Commenting the obvious.
I know. Sainz had a great drive, could have done better. Ferrari had a bit better pace. Yeah. Definitely. Like I said, he did amazing to get to P8, but could have been better.
There was a couple of teams that were really struggling on the pace. Like we said, McLaren Ferrari, they couldn't. Sainz had an unbelievable race, but like Dan says, if he had a little bit more pace on that track, God knows where he could have been.
Oh yeah. Yes, it was. It was, to be fair, yeah.
It really was. I think both of them were a credit to the skill, because they could have easily collided during that.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it was really impressive.
Yeah, the one. Lewis Hamilton said the press battle showed how Red Bull and Mercedes should race. Nice, clean, fair battle. Yeah, you don't tend to see that with Lewis and Max. So it was nice to see a Red Bull and a Mercedes not come together.
I wonder if that was Hamilton and Max, what would have happened?
Oh, they definitely would have come together, 100%. Especially because, Hamilton isn't direct rivals with Perez. You know what I mean? There was his, rival team.
It's not kind of like he's not really in his.
Yeah, but it's not like a championship battle. If it was Max and Lewis, it could have ended up the way it's ended up twice this year already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
because you think with Max as well, I always say that Max can let his temper run away with him.
Yes. Yeah.
And can cause problems for his own drive. His temper will be his own demise.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the crash with Hamilton. Russia last year. There we go.
There we go.
The crash with Hamilton and Verstappen, obviously, where Verstappen's wheel was on Hamilton's head.
Yes.
The only reason that happened is because Max was absolutely fuming and he could not concentrate on his job at hand.
Yeah.
And
100%.
He was frustrated, and he wasn't. His mind wasn't in it. He was too frustrated, and I think that's where he's going to need, if he really wants to, be a convincing champion, which he is. He needs to be careful of how he deals with his temper whilst driving, because it can put himself at risk, but it can also can put his chances of winning at risk if he gets a couple of DNFs because you've crashed out, or things like that. You could struggle and you could throw it away. Do you think it's bad for everyone if Hamilton wins the World Championship again? I think it needs a new face. I do. I do agree here. Like, don't get me wrong, because I'd just like to see someone else win it this season, because Hamilton will probably bloody go and win it next season again. So let's give us a new face this season while we're having this very close fight. I don't think it's necessarily bad for the sport if Hamilton wins again, because he deserves it. He's one of the best drivers we've ever seen in the sport. So for one of the best drivers we've ever seen to win the championship again, is it bad for the sport? No. It's great for the sport because it's, you know, we're watching one of the greatest talents.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, it would be absolutely amazing to see a new world champion.
Yeah, with me, this one's an interesting one because I'm a bit of a neutral when it comes to like this. Like, I want Lewis to do well, British driver, you know, and I'd love to see him get his 8th. But like, as far as supporting the drivers go, I'm not a Lewis Hamilton fan and I'm not a Max Verstappen fan. I'm more sort of, you know, Danny Rick, for example. But you know, I'm not like, as far as front runners go, it doesn't really bother me who wins it. I just want more of a fight for it.
Yeah.
So like, for example, you know, in previous seasons having the title wrapped up by now, that's not what I want. No. As a spectator of the sport and as someone who enjoys watching the racing, I want last race of the season battles, like, you know, a few, like, example, like it's been this year, like switching positions, like, oh, he's in the lead, no, he's in the lead, do you know what I mean? Something like that. Like I said, personally, I think if I had to pick, I do think I want Hamilton to win it this year, just because I want him to get the 8th. I want him to, you know, statistically get that. And I feel like with the new regulations, I feel like there is more of a chance of other teams and other drivers, potentially, because you never know. Like, for example, I don't know, you never know. Like, I know it's the Southern Mercedes, but you could see George could come into this minute next year, and I'm not saying he's going to smash Hamilton, but he could give him a really, really good run for his money.
Yeah.
And like, because at the end of the day, it's not guaranteed. Like, I think it's just one big question mark, especially with the new regulations, especially with what teams. McLaren could come out and be like, you know, they're already showing progress. They could come out and be.
McLaren are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the next season or two.
I think they'll be a title contender team. They really do.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a hard one to judge at the minute, because we don't know how it's going to go next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's bad for the sport. I just think it's boring when there isn't a title fight. But if there's a title fight at the end of the day, I don't really care who wins it. I just want that for entertainment value. I want to be going to the last race of the season and thinking, oh my God, there's like 2 points between who's going to win, sort of thing. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
We like that uncertainty, don't we? You know, we want to get excited for it. We want to. We want to not know.
Yeah.
We want that surprise. We want that fight. That's all we've wanted. And I think so many people get very wound up by Hamilton constantly winning. And they make out it's not because it's him winning, it's because he's winning so clear, so easily. It becomes boring because it's just the same old. For me, it's not necessary. I'm absolutely buzzing every time Lewis wins it, but I'm bored of just seeing him run away with it. So this season is what we've all been dreaming of, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that fight. I can't wait for the Austin, Texas. That is a Lewis Hamilton track massive weekend coming up.
Definitely.
Yeah. He'll. I think with that one, he'll have fun. Hamilton with that one. I think he'll be very relaxed, and he'll just glide through it, basically.
I reckon
he does like that track a lot, so that'll be a good one to watch. Have we got any other moments in this race, really, that we?
I'm trying to look at my notes. See if I wrote them down. We had like flashes of great moments, but I think it was, for a wet track, it wasn't the most amazing. But we got some decent point scorers. Yeah, I didn't write. I literally didn't write down any of the notes. Literally, that's pretty much it. That's what I mean. Everything, like the penalties that happened at the beginning, obviously with the tyres and everything at the end, and like I said, nothing really happened in the middle. It was kind of just like.
Oh, what do we think about Ocon being the only one that didn't pit?
Yeah, fair play. He finished in the points well, didn't he? Was it P10?
Yeah, he was 10th, so he got a point.
Fair play. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it was random though. Like, it's not like he was fighting for anything or
I hadn't noticed it actually until like the last couple of laps, and it was showing pit stops and went Ocon 0. I went, oh, fair enough.
Go on then, Ocon. Go on, Esteban. Yeah. But again, the state of his tyres after the race were...
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, God.
They can't even fun to drive.
Honestly, they were scary. I don't know how they did it, in all honesty. No. But what I'll do is I'll read out, obviously, where everyone finished, and then we'll kind of wrap it up for tonight. So we had Bottas, Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Gasly, Norris, Sainz, Stroll, Ocon, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Russell, Alonso, Latifi, Vettel, Schumacher, Mazepin.
He who shall not be named.
So, Chelsea, we are going to wrap it up here. So, tell everyone where they can go and follow you.
Yeah, you can go and find me on Twitter at Formula Chelsea, even though I don't really use the account anymore. I'll try and get back on it. I think it's because I stopped using it during the during the break.
The break.
Kind of. But if you want to find me more often, I'll be on Chel UTD, which is on the football Twitter, but I also do tweet about F1. So yeah, or you can follow me on Instagram, and it's just at Chelsea Trafford.
Lovely. And mine is all the same, Twitter and Instagram at Lauren Page Souls. It's there. But thank you very much for joining us, guys. Please make sure that you do subscribe, like the video, and
we'll post more regularly, I promise.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get back on it.
We'll try and do more live videos for you guys, so we can get the interactions going. Yeah, we love it. So thank you very much for joining us, guys, and I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday evening.
Thank you.
Bye.